Red Rising, this book is surprising. What's up guys, my name's Hayden Murphy and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Coincidentally, around my house, Red Rising is also what we say when my wife wakes up in the morning. She's a redhead.
I love those redheads, man. I know you.
All jokes about my wife aside, I have been hearing about this book for a long time. So I know I'm late to the party, please cut me some slack. But, I mean, you talk about YouTube videos, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, so many book recommendation videos about this book right here. I mean, ranging anywhere from one of the best sci-fi books you could read, one of the best series, top 10 books that changed my life, and this is always one of them. It's a funny thing because I actually have owned this book for a long time. I even started reading it and never finished it. I don't know why, I guess just general life stuff. But I own the second book as well, lent it to a friend. It never came back, such is the way of things. And I never wanted to start this book without having the second one first, because if it was as good as people were hyping it to be, then I wanted to jump right into the second one. Lo and behold, the second one went on clearance at my Walmart, and I said, now it's the perfect time to read this. I'm a big mood reader. I don't make plans and TBRs and all that kind of stuff. I just look at my shelf and see what I'm in the mood to read. And Red Rising was calling my name.
Who there call my name?
And boy, am I glad that I read it, because this book is really good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's not a perfect book by any means, okay? I do still have some criticism of things, but I give him a pass because I believe this was his very first book. And for a first book, I have to say, he wrote it way better than I would ever have been able to, okay? I'm going to just give my general thoughts and opinions on this book with a few mild criticisms, and then I'm going to go into spoilers at some point later on in the video, because it's hard for me to talk about this without going into spoilers. But if I could describe the premise of the book in one sentence, I would say it's Hunger Games in space. I mean, let's be real. It's Hunger Games in... God. I don't know anything else about the rest of the series, okay? But if I had to guess, I would say that the only book that would have the Hunger Games type plot would be this one. And that going forward with the way that this book ended, we will not see that type of plot really happen again in the way it was done in this book. I would categorize this book as a sci fantasy. It is set very far in the future where mankind is populating planets in outer space. And the society in which they are built around, allowing this to happen, is a very, let's say, Darwinistic society.
Charles Darwin, at your service.
There is a hierarchy to the class levels that they associate certain types of humans with. I don't know all of the levels per se, but they're all revolved around colors. Hence the title Red Rising, because the bottom level class are known as the Reds, and the top level class are known as the Golds. I don't know if I missed out on some of the details where it described, the qualities and traits of these people. I don't believe their skin color is necessarily associated with like the color red or gold or anything. I believe there might be an association with their hair color. Please correct me on that if I'm wrong, but sometimes I was picturing that golden race from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, if you know what I mean.
You suck, Sarlacc. Typical.
Even though I'm pretty sure none of them were, like, actually gold and red. That might have just been me in my head.
It's all in your head.
This book's pacing is really great. The only thing is, it does jump from like major scene to major scene. There's usually not that much build-up sometimes, or what I would like to say like some great scenes with like character development, to where like I'm not saying that he needs to have filler scenes, but it would sometimes be great to like, tee up some of those bigger moments, This book does jump fairly quickly from those big moments to big moments to big moments. And I think maybe that's why this book is so popular with a lot of people, because I would categorize this as like a mainstream book. It is always keeping your attention. I never felt bored. I was always engaged, but I do think that we could have had a little bit of some build-up scenes or moments. Minor criticism, nothing major. Again, it's his first book, so that's all I can say about that. Another pet peeve of mine is the present tense. I'm not a big fan of present tense. It works for me sometimes. I liked the I Am Number 4 series, but again, that was like young adult, so I was like, okay, it kind of fits that. I did like Project Hail Mary, but it made sense in that story because he is remembering things, and the present tense allows you to uncover things as he's discovering them. In this book, he is writing and speaking in present tense, but he is saying things in details that he really shouldn't know. Like, it would make sense if it was in past tense because he would say, I didn't know then, but I came to learn later that this moment was happening here because of whatever, or this person was feeling this, or if only I knew this. But he says a few things, again, minor criticism, that I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like you should know that.
And I know you know that I know you.
Another thing that bothered me was the info dumping, primarily early on in the book. It didn't feel as natural. And that goes hand in hand with the present tense dialogue and format. But let's be real, the king of info dumping is Brandon Sanderson. I mean, he is such an expert at weaving in the info dumping in a natural way that never feels like info dumping. He introduces something and it might be happening in an action, and that's how we discover how the world works, how the magic system happens, the hierarchy, the systems. This one, not as much, and it didn't come across as naturally, but it wasn't bad enough that it took me out of the book. Another criticism for me, which I might have to go more in detail in the spoiler section, was why our main character, Darrow, was the one chosen for the task at hand. There didn't seem, aside from maybe like some physicality, there didn't necessarily seem anything that was introduced early on in the book that screamed or like spoke to me of like why he was chosen. So maybe I missed something, or maybe they were just taking a wild shot in the dark. But like, as he is doing things later on in the book, it didn't seem like he should have these leadership abilities or the things he's able to do necessarily just because of his upbringing. But maybe just because we didn't have enough time to see it, I don't know. It felt a little off somewhat. But all those mild criticisms out of the way, before I get into the spoiler section, I have to say, this book is awesome. It was really great. It had shocking moments, surprising moments. It had me hooked the whole time. And especially by the end of the book, he established a world that I am very eager to continue in. I already started another book, but I am going to jump almost immediately into the second book of this series. And I would recommend, look at me, I'm starting to be like one of those TikTokers now. I wouldn't say the book changed my life, but it is a good plot-driven story. I would recommend this book to you if you haven't read it. Now, I am going to go into the spoiler section of this video, so if you have not read this book, turn back now. Get out of here, okay? We're going to qualify you as a red, so get out of here, you dirty reds, all right? Only golds are allowed here from this point forward, okay? All right, let's talk about some of the spoilers stuff in this book, shall we? The biggest thing, I was shocked when we found out that Titus was a red. That right there, what I mentioned in the first half of the book, where I was like, why is he the one that got chosen for this? Because I know they had mentioned that they had tried body modifications to turn the person into a gold on multiple different people. But I was like, again, why are we picking him? Like, what makes him special? I get that they are raised in like a tough environment and that they were lied to, but it wasn't until that moment when I realized, oh, there might be a lot more reds hidden in this gold society than I realized. And maybe it really was just a shot in the dark, and he happens to be the one, because of his background and the trauma he endured, that is the fire keeping him going, that he's willing to do anything. Because there are things that he messes up in this book. He doesn't necessarily make perfect decisions immediately. So I won't say he is like the best main character. I won't say that I'm necessarily 100% sold on him being the one to bring forth a revolution or be the one who is like the Red Rising guy, but the book didn't have enough time to have some of those character building moments, maybe a dialogue scene here or there that could have built to some of his character work, and maybe have some flashback scenes and explain to us maybe something he experienced in his past that allows him to make the right decision here and have those leadership qualities. Again, the book prioritizes plot over character development, even though there is still great character work, there's still great character development. But this book did do what a lot of great first books should do, is I want more. I want to see. And so I know there is room for improvement. There is room to show me and get me more on board with Darrow as being the leader of the society. I mean, just in physicality alone and what he's able to accomplish, I get it. It's great. But it wasn't until he started to realize how the Golds work and slavery and all that, that he was like, you know what? I tried to do it their way. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to free the slaves, right? And that's how he started to overcome in the Institute. And let's talk about that first night that they get into the Institute. The passage, holy crap. This book took a huge major turn, right? I thought, oh, it's going to build up. It's going to escalate slowly. No, day one, they're putting these kids into rooms with other weaker kids to make them kill them. They are brutalizing these kids, losing them of any kind of, innocence. And they are saying, you've been coddled your whole life. The Reds, they don't get coddled. They're way stronger than any of you. And we are going to force that upon you now. Go kill these kids. And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. That's so tough. But not only that, but the fact that it had to be Cassius's brother that Darrow killed. Oh my goodness, so crazy. And how he kept that through the whole time with Cassius, and how that happened with him stabbing him. I mean, it was just really crazy.
Did someone say crazy?
And then even the concept of the Institute, right? Initially, I was kind of like, okay, here we go again, Hunger Games, premise, yada, 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 whatever. But it's so expertly done because it is a school technically, right? It's called the Institute, and even that I was a little hesitant at first. I was thinking, okay, are we falling into the Harry Potter kind of trope here again? I've seen that done. I don't think you can do it as well. But no, they are setting up the future leaders of their society, and they need them to be brutal. They need them to be cold and heartless. And what better way to figure out and force the leadership of the future generations than to just drop them into a makeshift game that represents real life. We're not sitting in a classroom listening to a professor drone on and on with a boring lecture.
Turn to page 394.
We're not reading tons of books and homeworks and tests. No, you're learning this on the fly through the cold, harsh reality of experience. And I love that whole premise. It actually excels above the Hunger Games trope in a way, because what better way to force and find out who actually steps up and becomes the leader that you want them to be, even if those leaders are really terrible. But that's what the Gold Society is built on, and they want those types of people. And I really, really had fun, even though lots of really terrible stuff happened. Another cool twist that initially rocked me to my core, but then I realized that it wasn't the twist we thought it was going to be, was when Mustang turned out to be the Archgovernor's daughter. And you think that the whole book is about to turn and she's going to, go against him. And I'm thinking, man, he really got me to believe that Mustang was actually going to be helping him. But then you realize, no, this is just all the way the Golds work. But nah, she didn't. She actually turned on her brother. And there's a lot more there to unpack that I hope we get in the future novels. But yeah, that one was really awesome. I know I'm going out of order with these moments, but like I'm just saying them as they come to me. But like even before that, when he takes Mount Olympus, I mean, what he was able to do was really awesome. That they had never seen anyone do that in the Institute before. But that in this game or school, that it was rigged from the start, right? That these proctors and all them, they were rigging it to favor the archgovernor's son, the jackal, okay? And he was like, screw that. I'm not gonna have my, life rigged anymore. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to take advantage of this. And he was able to take over Mount Olympus, and it set him in a prime position where going forward, he is able to do the actual revolution, the actual thing that needs to be done. Why I said earlier, I don't believe they're going to follow the same format of the Hunger Games going forward, where after a while with the Hunger Games, starts to get a little repetitive. This felt like a prequel to the actual plot of the series. This was just setting up how he gets into the place he gets in by the end of this book. Where I gotta say, I was shocked that he chose to be with the Arch-Governor. If this was a Dungeon Crawler Carl book, okay, Carl would have been like, forget you, I don't care who you are, I'm not working with you, you're a terrible person, be gone. Whereas Darrow says, I've got to work in between all this stuff, and he follows the motto of like, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. And that is the path he's chosen. Lots of intrigue, lots of great inner politics stuff that might come from this result with the Arch-Governor's son and daughter, Mustang, and then also with the his arch-nemesis' family, with the Bologna's family of Cassius and all them. Lots of intrigue, and I love that political stuff. And so it's giving me something that I hope he expands on that in the future books. And I cannot go any further without saying who the real MVP of this book was. It's not Darrow. Darrow's nothing to this character. The MVP of this book is Severo.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Come on. Even from the very beginning, Cassius and Darrow be like, oh, what do? We don't know what to do. And Severo's like, we could go and take this castle. How about we do this and this? It'd be smart if you go and do this thing. I mean, this guy was a lone wolf from the beginning. He was able to be self-sustaining and take care of himself. He's doing all these things. He's the one giving Darrow and Cassius the idea of how to lead. But he also, above all, is loyal. He was loyal to Darrow through and through in this book. He never gave up on him. He never abandoned him. And when time came that Darrow asked him to do things, then Severo went and got it done. Even at the end of the book, where Darrow slipped up and said something only a Red would say, and the cameras might have caught that, but Severo whispers in his ear, some of that footage got lost. All right, Severo, I see what you're playing at. I know what you're doing, man.
Very, very sneaky, sir.
So he's clever, he's loyal, and he is great at what he did. Even from the beginning, he was not meant to survive this institute. They chose him not because they thought he was going to succeed, but because they thought that he was going to fail. And he proved them all wrong. Severo is the MVP. Which leads to another shocking moment, that he was the proctor's son, Fitchner's son. So it's awesome that Finchner obviously knew his son was probably going to die and went along with it willingly, but that Severo was willing to go against his dad, take Mount Olympus. He didn't care. So I'm interested to see what that relationship dynamic will be going forward. Even Severo's relationship to Darrow, is he going to be truly loyal to him? Will he use that information against him as leverage? But all I know is Severo is my favorite character, and I hope he has a lot more room to shine in the series going forward. Okay, that's pretty much all I have to say about the book. I'll just reiterate one more time. I really, really like this book. It is very, very good. I do not think it's a perfect book. I'm not going to say it's life-changing like I've seen several people on YouTube say, but it's really, really good and very entertaining. Even if you don't like science fiction, this book is a great entry piece into the genre. You know, dip that toe a little bit, take a little bit of taste of that Red Rising, all right? But it was very, very good, and I am so eager and excited to jump into the rest of the series. But with all that being said, what do you guys think? I know I'm a little late on this one, but I want to know your thoughts on this book and the rest of the series. Does it live up to the hype that this book has set up for future installments? Let me know in the comment section below, and go ahead, drop me a like, and go ahead and subscribe, because I've got lots of book reviews coming up in the near future. And, you know, maybe you can jump on this, you know, Red Rising journey with me and see where it takes me. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and maybe by the end of the series, I'll be a gold myself. Alright, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.